She was once a girl full of dreams. But one terrible night changed everything. Rejected by her family, abandoned by society, she gave birth alone, with nothing but a broken heart and a child in her arms. She sacrificed everything to raise that child. But years later, on the most important day of her daughter's life, she was denied, as if she never existed. This is not just a story. It's a cry for every mother who loved in silence. Stay with me. What you're about to hear will stay with you forever. Adana was a bright young woman with dreams of becoming a teacher. She was kind-hearted, hardworking, and full of life. She lived in a small village where everyone knew each other, and she was loved by many. But her life changed forever on a cold, rainy night. She was coming back from the market when she decided to take a shortcut through the bushes. She had always passed that route safely, but that night was different. As she walked through the narrow path, she suddenly heard footsteps behind her. Before she could react, a strong hand grabbed her, covering her mouth before she could scream. It was Ikenna, the village madman. He was known for wandering the streets, talking to himself, and laughing at nothing. Nobody paid him much attention, thinking he was harmless. But that night, he showed his true evil. Adana struggled, kicked, and tried to break free, but he was too strong. He dragged her into the darkness and violated her. She lay there after he was done, shivering from pain and fear. She couldn't cry. Her tears had dried up from the horror of what had just happened. When she finally found her way home, she told her parents what had happened. She expected comfort, protection, and love. Instead, their reaction was cold. You allowed a madman to touch you. How could you bring shame to this family? Her father yelled. Nobody will marry you now, Adana. You have destroyed your life, her mother screamed. She tried to explain that she had no control over what happened, but they didn't care. The news spread like wildfire in the village, and soon, her friends stopped talking to her. People whispered when she passed, pointing fingers at her. Weeks later, she discovered she was pregnant. She cried bitterly. She knew this child would remind her of that horrible night, but it was still her child, her blood. Her parents were furious when they found out. You must abort it, her father demanded. No, she said firmly, wiping her tears. Then you will leave this house. We have no daughter who carries a madman's child. With nowhere to go, Adana left her home and wandered the streets. She slept in an abandoned house until a kind old woman took her in. She worked as a maid in exchange for food and shelter. 9 months later, she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl and named her Amarachi, meaning God's grace. Despite her pain, she promised to love her child with all her heart. Life was tough. She worked as a cleaner during the day and a street vendor at night to provide for Amarachi. She did everything to make sure her daughter had a better future. Even when people mocked her for raising a madman's child, she never gave up. She told Amarachi stories, sang her lullabies, and made sure she never lacked love. Amarachi grew up knowing only her mother's care. Amarachi was intelligent. She excelled in school, always coming first in her class. Adana was proud and did everything to pay her school fees. She sewed clothes at night, sometimes skipping meals so that her daughter wouldn't lack anything. When Amarachi was 16, she got admission into the university. It was the happiest day of Adana's life. She sold everything she had, her sewing machine, her jewelry, and even borrowed money just to pay for her daughter's education. Go and be great, my child, she said as Amarachi boarded the bus. I will, Mama. I will make you proud, Amarachi replied, hugging her. But something changed when Amarachi got to university. She met new friends, rich and sophisticated people who laughed at poverty. She started feeling ashamed of her background. At school, she told her friends that her parents had died when she was a baby and that she was raised in an orphanage. She didn't want anyone to know that her mother was poor and that her father was a madman. Adana missed her daughter terribly. She saved little by little and traveled to visit her at school. But when she got there, Amarachi pretended not to know her. "Madam, who are you looking for?" Amarachi's friend asked. "I came to see my daughter, Amarachi," Adana said, smiling. Amarachi stepped forward. She looked at her mother's worn-out clothes and tired face. Embarrassed, she shook her head. "I don't know her," she said coldly. Adana's heart broke. She stood there, tears filling her eyes. Amarachi walked away with her friends, laughing as if nothing had happened. Years passed, and Amarachi graduated. She never went back home. Adana searched for her, but she never found her. One day, at the market, she saw Amarachi with a young man. Overjoyed, she rushed to her. "Amarachi, my daughter. I have been looking for you." Amarachi turned, shocked. Her boyfriend looked at her. "Who is this woman?" he asked. "I don't know her," Amarachi said quickly. Her mother froze. "Amarachi, my child, please. Go away, mad woman!" Amarachi shouted, causing a scene. Adana's heart shattered. She watched as Amarachi and her boyfriend walked away, laughing. She fell to her knees, sobbing. Amarachi found love and was preparing for her wedding. Her friends and future husband believed she was an orphan. One of her childhood friends, who knew the truth, decided to tell Adana. "Mama Adana, Amarachi is getting married next Saturday," she said. Adana's heart leaped. She took out her best dress, the one she had been saving for a special occasion, and made her way to the wedding. She arrived at the church, standing at the back, watching her daughter in a beautiful white gown. Her eyes filled with tears of pride and sorrow. But when Amarachi saw her, her face turned cold. She whispered something to the security, and in minutes, the bouncers dragged Adana out of the church. "Leave immediately," one of them shouted. "Please, she is my daughter," Adana begged. Inside the church, Amarachi acted as if nothing had happened, as if her mother never existed. Outside, Adana sat on the ground, crying. The daughter she sacrificed everything for had thrown her away like trash. That night, Adana walked home in the rain, soaked and broken. She laid on her small bed, her heart heavy with sorrow. She closed her eyes and whispered, "I forgive you, my child." By morning, the neighbors found her lifeless body. Her heart had given out from too much pain. Days later, Amarachi received a letter from her mother's friend. It read, "No matter what, I loved you. I never regretted having you. Be happy, my child." For the first time, Amarachi cried, not because of guilt, but because she realized she had lost the only person who truly loved her. But it was too late. She thought leaving her mother behind would give her peace. But it left her with guilt, shame, and a past she couldn't erase. In life, we may not choose how we were born, but we can choose who we become. Don't forget those who stood by you in silence. Their love may be broken, but it is still love. If this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe. Help us share real stories that matter.